राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Yeah, I think today we are going with the discussions. There were pending questions. Okay, if I remember, the first question was protection of the Brahmanas. And the second question, appropriateness of ladies not calling each other as Mataji. Is there any other question, Prabhu, which I did not capture?
I think there's one more that Shweta.
Yes, Sweta Mataji's question is also there. There's the three questions.
What's the third question?
Guru Prabhu, like how much lectures remain, by the way? Just
No, we finished, Prabhu. Lecture is completed,
okay.
that which we were hearing from Monday.
Got it.
Yeah, today.
The question we can finish in 5-10 minutes or something like that. And then the remaining 10-15 minutes we can have a lecture for the next one.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhu,
Prabhu.
somehow
Like,
your voice is not
Your
clear,
voice
Prabhu.
is not clear, Prabhu.
Oh, just a minute. Vinodini?
Hello, is this any audible now?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
This is fine. Okay.
It's fine.
Once you call your wife's name, everything becomes perfect, Prabhu.
That's what even I was going to say, that you took shelter of Mataji, so it became louder.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhu, could you please repeat whatever you were
So
mentioning?
I was telling that maybe 5-10 minutes is 6:33. 5 to 7 minutes will finish it, and then after that maybe 15 minutes of the next lecture. Lecture Respect in Ramayana. That's the next lecture in the series. Okay. If you want, I can send the link to you.
Yeah, you said that series of lectures, right?
No, that one, that's same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's same thing. Yeah.
Fine,
Second.
Prabhu. I will open that. I will open meanwhile. Yeah.
Okay. So the first one actually was not a question about whatever was written in the group, protection of Brahmanas. And it's actually a point which was mentioned by Maharaj, quoting from Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Topics like these, like whatever we are discussing now, is sometimes a little heavy. Why? Because it forces us to think what I'm doing is right or what I'm doing is wrong. And when we hear this very same topic, not one day or 2 days, but we'll probably be ending up hearing it for at least 4 to 5 weeks. It becomes, oh my God, it's so tough. I have to follow so many rules and regulations. It's tough. I understand that part. Do I really need to follow it? And sometimes people take this as an excuse, or I shouldn't even call it as an excuse, as a main reason to say, you know what? I don't like religion. Religion has a set of rules. Instead, spirituality is better, where I can do what I want to do. So, or at least it's my feeling that comes into the picture. And with my feelings, let me do however I want, and I will have a sense of belongingness, a sense of accomplishment, and I will change naturally. It's quite natural for many people to do that, and that's why It's not so often that we ourselves also focus so much on these kind of exclusive topics on self improvement or generic guidelines to live in a society, because it's much more easier in one sense from the Bhagavata Marga point of view that we hear about the Leelas of the Supreme Lord and let that story impact us. In contrast, this particular case, that like whatever the first lecture is there, when there are not so many stories, when it is just a bunch of principles, it's very tough for most people. So before we, so that's why I think Maharaj went to the next set, which is respect in Ramayana, respect in Gaur Leela, respect in Krishna Leela. So he's going step by step that way. Very thoughtfully done by Maharaj too, taking examples which people can relate to. And in those lectures, we had to be even more cautious, or we should be very attentive, not cautious. We should be attentive because uh, while telling a katha or a pastime, Maharaj just in a matter of a minute, he just speaks about the principle, leaves it, and moves forward. So that's the reason we had to be very, very attentive there. And before we go there, one of the things I thought I'll speak about is this principle of respect to a Brahmana. A Brahmana here, or a Vaishnava, in this sense, from what Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote, and what is also given in the scripture, is somebody who is striving to reach the absolute truth. Brahman charati iti brahmanaha. Chara, that person is walking on the path to Brahman. It doesn't necessarily say that person is perfect. Many times, due to, I think for most people in this age group here, most of them here are in their 30s to probably 70s here. We learned certain things in school, which is there was a point in time where the Brahmanas exploited the Shvaishyas, the Kshatriyas, and the Shudras. And because of this Brahmanical exploitation, Buddhism arose and Jainism arose. And therefore, this whole thing that comes up is Brahmanas are so bad. They wanted power in their hands, etc. And many times, I do see a similar thing being spoken about in when devotees come about saying here, they say that, you know what, when we because of the background of the way in which the history was taught, our own history was taught to us, people start speaking like that, even assuming that this is true, that the Brahmanas exploited the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras, etc. And it has become a common norm that this has been happening from ages. And therefore, let us not go with this rule-based system as such. And therefore, many times, unwittingly, even when devotees speak about the Bhagavatam topics, they say, oh, no, this Bhagavat, these Brahmanas and all is not right. What the Brahmanas used to do is not fine. But we are trying to be Vaishnavas, which are higher than the Brahmanas. Now, I'd like to take a pause here. When I'm just expressing this is a situation, but I'd like to take a pause here to reflect what actually is happening here. Sometime in 1800s, there were two things going on in India. One was the presence of the British in India, who wanted to have a strong grip on Indians. Second, it was also the time of industrialization in Europe. And there were many people who didn't like this industrialization in Europe, where a few people who were the rich persons, they employed a lot of others and made money at the expense of others. In other words, prior to industrialization in Europe, people were mostly in farms. And somehow the life in a farm did not give a life of security. So these industrialists, they attracted people from the villages. They stayed in very horrible conditions. In one building, almost 500 people used to stay, and very poor sanitary conditions as such. And they had to work from morning to night. And they used to get a pittance of wages. It was better than their agricultural farm output, but it was not worth it. And this frustration led to Karl Marx writing about the Communist Manifesto. Uh, so what Karl Marx did was he said, it looks like the society has always several classes. It is always one class fighting against the other class. It is only when the lowest class, the worker class, takes away everybody else and or removes everybody else from their position and comes to the topmost position, then the society will be in equilibrium. We have to break the classes. So inherent to the success of this ideology is, first and foremost, recognize there are classes in society. And that, number two, is there is a struggle amongst the classes. Number three, exploit this struggle to destroy the classes. This is so only when you destroy the classes, then the worker class can become the best. The Vedic civilization did not actually fit into this communist cycle. Likewise, what the Britishers wanted was that they found that as long as they cannot break the respect which the general public had for somebody who is following the Vedic Dharma, they believe that they cannot get Christianity into the door in India. But so what the Britishers did in India was somehow make people feel, what it is the Brahmanas exploiting them, the rest of the population. And the more they did it, they actually made it, and the way they did it was very nice, which is, or very intelligently, they gave more power to the Brahmanas somewhere around 1840s, etc. And invariably, it meant that when you give suddenly more power to the Brahmanas and then say the others shouldn't be given that much power, there seemed to be a resentment. And they cashed in on that resentment. And the objective, very well thought through, very strategically thought through, is when people resent the Brahmanas will not have anybody to teach the Vedic scriptures, or nobody would like to uh, follow or support the Brahmana. Nobody would like to learn the Vedic scriptures or follow the injunctions of the Vedic scriptures. When you raise a generation which doesn't follow the Vedic scriptures, then it becomes open for them to give something new, and Christianity can fill the gap. That was from the British side. From the communist side, they also saw that, oh yeah, there's a class struggle seem to be going on here. Let's exploit it. And the moment there is no respect for scriptures and for the persons who are trying to practice the scriptures, again, there will be an easy way for them to bring in their own new ideology. In other words, nobody in this world is perfect. Everybody is a work in progress case. But what Srila Prabhupada taught us is, in a pile of dirt, learn to look for a small piece of gold. If it is there, you should take a gold even from a pile of dirt. In the same way, protection of Brahmanas is actually happens. I mean, the Brahmanas need to be protected because it is the so-called Brahmanas, not, I shouldn't say so-called, it is the Brahmanas who are not working towards economic prosperity. They are working to live in relationship with the Supreme Lord. They may need some money to live in their life, but in addition to it, they are more happy in just reciting the scriptures, learning more about it, etc. It is those people, those Brahmanas, who actually help the rest of the society to move up, to give something, they give them the higher principles in life, and by their conduct, they help them to know what is right and what is wrong. In fact, you even have historical accounts where sometime in the 1750s, 1780s, etc., the Brahmanas were the teachers for everybody, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, the Shudras, everybody. But the Britishers came and they painted a different picture altogether for whatever the strategic purpose that I just told right now. So it is important that even when we speak, we should uphold the culture of Brahmanism. Why? Because each and every one of you here is actually on the path to become a proper Brahmana. Why? Janmana jayate Shudraha samskarat bhavet duja. Each and every one of you are actually getting samskaras by hearing to great saintly personalities like His Holiness Rompal Maharaj and others like Gaurang Prabhu and others, that your samskaras are getting changed, your motivations are getting changed. So when you are getting changed, you become the Brahmana. It's not by birth. That's the major thing that we learned from Srila Prabhupada, that it's not by birth. And it was there prior to that anybody can, it was by the functioning that they do in the society, they become Brahmanas. It is another thing that all of you are Brahmanas focused on Vishnu or Krishna, and therefore you become Vaishnavas. And therefore, we should not denigrate the role of a Brahmana. How do we sometimes denigrate the role of a Brahmana? By not, when a Brahmana is trying to speak, or when a Vaishnava, whenever we go to a temple, now I'll replace the word Brahmana with a Vaishnava. Whenever we go to a temple, there may be somebody who's speaking. Or some other program is there. We encourage the Brahmana by arranging programs for the Brahmana or Vaishnava to speak more about the scripture and to live their life according to it. That is one. And secondly, ideally a Vaishnava, like each of you, are very subtle persons. They do not like to put themselves in the center. So they will not speak much on what to do, but they'll show by their actions. So we need to learn from Vaishnavas that if they have achieved something, we should just learn from them and very humbly go and ask them. That leads to the next part about the old folks. Some are Vaishnavas, which comes higher in the pecking order. But in the list given by Maharaj, I think number 3 was Pada Maryada, those who are older or those who have a position. Both of them have learned something by their experience in life. And it is important that one should not argue to an superior. One can humbly state one's position, but it should not be like shouting at that person, etc. Or more importantly, not giving value to the experience that that person brings. So I just thought I'll add these points here, and somebody here can say, hey, you're going off topic. This is not what Maharaj said. Yes, I'm just extending it, that's true. But if you'd like to say something else, please do correct me. Especially most of you are very senior here, please do correct me.
Prabhu, how will you, what way we should see our elders or the one generation up to us, whom we see that they are still, I mean, even at this age, they are only interest is sense gratification. I mean, eat this, go there, do this, do that, and the moment if there is any topic of Bhagwan or bhakti, then they turn their face away even at this age.
That's okay.
And
That's okay. You see, it's fine. It's fine. But what happens, like maybe this is not what you intended to ask, but I'll just add it here. When we see everybody in the light of is he following bhakti or not, I'm going to give respect only to a person who follows bhakti. It becomes very restrictive. It alienates people. It makes people who could even potentially take it up through some means. They just don't like it that way. So our respect for them is that they underwent a struggle in life. to create something for us, and our respect for them goes on the base, ideally goes two ways. One is a prayer for them. Second is, if possible, make their physical life a little easier. So somebody whose heart and whose conscience has not gone so much in for the Supreme Lord, if they have done something beneficial for us, serve them physically. That way we show our respect.
Yes, Prabhu. I understand. But yeah, my question was like our relatives or someone whom we are seeing since many years. I mean, because we are also not very young now. So our next generation whom we are seeing for last few years, where their life is good. I mean, there is nothing hard in their life. It's going good. It's not, at least whatever is visible. I mean, I'm not talking about the past or whatever is visible since many years. And not not doing bhakti is, even I am okay that we should not judge anyone, because bhakti also can be in a various forms which even we can't recognize. So that is okay. But uh, but then going away from the Vedic culture, like having the habits, installing the habits, promoting the habits which are against what is taught, practical habits I'm talking about,
Ah,
not
hmm,
not
hmm,
like
hmm,
uh, only in the theory, practical
ah,
habits.
hmm.
So how should we
Oh, for them, for such people, then bring opportunities for them to meet devotees in some way, if possible at all. That we should do, definitely. I
okay,
mean, they
Prabhu.
may be old, but totally young and immature in both religious and spiritual life. Are you trying to say some persons who are just like, they like partying, they
Yes.
just like to watch movies and spend time just touring countries and places, and think this is enjoyment in life? Are you telling something like that?
Yes, Prabhu. And then, I mean, if little cheating is, it's okay. I mean, this is practical things, why it is wrong and all the, I mean, what is normal in the outside world, that is what is correct for them. So how to give respect
Yeah,
also to them? I mean, good respect from the heart. I mean, from outside, definitely we will give. I mean, whatever is the norm and the culture, we definitely do that. But then
yeah,
it doesn't come from heart.
correct. I mean, but respect we normally associate with um, saying that this person is has an accomplishment, and like this person is a learned person. Yeah, he has a position. uh, he's chanting so well, something like that. Normally we associate respect with it, the adara. But the adara, which what we learn from scriptures and what Maharaj told, is that this person is connected to Krishna. He's an atma connected to Krishna, doing whatever nonsense that they are doing. So our primary thing is, here is God who has given a facility as a dress called a human body to this person. There is something that this person would have done in their previous life, that instead of being born as a cockroach, he's born as a human being. So the respect goes to the fact that this person has done some pious activities in some previous lives, which is somehow connected to the Supreme Lord, so that they have a human body. It's a different thing that they're misusing it now, right? So we don't see in the time, in terms of the time window in front of our eyes. We see it in terms of the bigger time window. Does that help? No,
Mm.
not
Yes,
convinced.
Prabhu.
Hmm?
No, no, Prabhu. I mean, even I myself also couldn't think of any other logic than that they have got the human form. So I
Hmm.
was thinking if I can get even more. So if
And,
that
and
is the
and
way,
many
I'm
times
fine.
it so happens that the fact that um, we the fact that we see people not in terms of their accomplishments or their activities, but in terms of their intrinsic value, it actually may help them in some cases to bring in something good in their life by we praying for them. But more often, it actually helps us. So it helps us primarily because we develop patience with our own selves. And when we don't have patience with our own selves, we don't have patience with others too. So that's something that we, so whenever we find that an issue of how can I respect others, we have to look in and see, why am I so impatient? Why do I want things to happen in my own timeline? That's something.
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhu. Yeah, that's helpful, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
And one other question was, Yugala Kishore Prabhu said, I think he knows it. The word Mataji, the word Prabhu for Matajis, it's grammatically or from a language perspective, it is incorrect. So people, and also, should a lady call another lady as Mataji? It's some form of respect is required. Sometimes there is a question also that sometimes say ladies call each other by name. Men too can call each other by name. That very much depends upon their personal relationship. But it also very much, the important point here is, the moment we call somebody by name, especially a devotee, we have to cross check in our own consciousness. What is my adara or respect for him? Is it increasing or decreasing, or is it the same? That inner mood is important, and within that inner mood, everything else is fine. But definitely, from a Vedic standpoint, ideally one doesn't call one's superior by name. One can call one's friends and maybe juniors by name. So you should be very clear that, hey, you're calling your own junior. But of course, there's this other aspect that in the modern world, when you're typing messages on WhatsApp or emails, etc., when you write, if there are too many names and writing Prabhu for every name is too much of typing work, that's understandable. I mean, you can write one Prabhu for everybody together, etc. That's understandable. Does that help, Yugala Kishore Prabhu, or would you like to add something else? I think he's not there today. Oh, sorry. He joined. Okay. Maybe Prabhu joined just now. Yugala Kishore Prabhu?
I don't see him, Prabhu. Oh, just now joining.
He joined
No,
just now.
actually,
Okay.
he unmuted and he tried to speak. Looks like we were not able to hear. So I think
Oh.
now even now he's unmuted, but we are not able to hear him.
Okay, fine. Any other point for discussion? Subudhi Rai Prabhu, would you like to say something?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, means the historic evidence and all the explanation that you gave was very wholesome. It definitely should create some sense of improvement in the way I respect the ordinary brahmanas or so-called brahmanas, because you covered a wide variety of points, so that means in no way we have excuse to means disrespect brahmana, or in whatever negative way we look at the brahmanas, because of the history that we have been taught, or whatever has been told to us from all these years. It was very good how you explained and put things into perspective, bro. Very, very thankful.
Thank you. Any other point? Not just from today, from all the previous sessions. Anybody would like to add any other
Hare Krishna,
perspective?
Prabhu.
Yes,
There was
Prabhu.
question of some examples. Okay, Yugal Krishna Prabhu is speaking.
Are you able to hear, no, Prabhu?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu, I'm
Prabhu.
able to hear.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So on the first point, Prabhu Brahmanas, earlier I used to always think that why British destroyed this Brahminical culture. But later, when we go through the Hiranyakashipu's pastimes, and we understand that it was not only British, but even Hiranyakashipu did the same thing, stopping the yajnas, killing the cows, and destroying Brahmanas. So this is not something new that British has. I think probably they have gone to the Bhagavatam pastimes and understood that how to destroy this Vedic culture. So they have taken a cue from there and destroyed the Vedic culture. So it is there from the beginning, and British had some other agenda that divide and rule it. So they did very fantastically, and we see today's result, completely un-Vedic culture in India. Thank you, Prabhu. Very wonderful point. Second, third, nice, Prabhu. I agree with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare
Anybody
Krishna,
else?
Prabhu.
Yes.
So the follow-up question is that, so if I heard it attentively, so British, they gave more power to the Brahmanas. Okay, only you should read the Shastra, etc., not other classes, and should not even reach to them.
No, they didn't give it that way. They made it little different. They made it like those in the different positions in their administration. The Britishers were great administrators, actually. So, who can enter into the administration and how much respect to given to each? They just sort of read something from the Manu Dharma Smriti, and they brought some rules. And after that, people began to think this is the right thing that is happening. So it's not valuing each. Earlier, if you look at the society, everybody had their own value. They were doing different things. But the Britishers turned it lopsided, and that became the de facto understanding. Yes, Proof. Now you go ahead.
So before the British came, all the other Varnas, they were allowed to read scriptures, or only because we hear the Brahmanas, they won't allow other, especially Shudras, to hear scripture. If there's some,
So, I
happened before British
what
also?
see in India there is a thing that we don't document history so well. It's very little that is documented, actually. But when we go with the scriptures, and there are historical evidences too, that those who come from Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, ideally, number one, they can learn the entire Vedic scriptures. Now, it is only for the Stree and Shudras, which is the one class of people for whom the Vedic mantras, in terms of the intonations, which have the different intonations, that is not given. And instead, what is given is the Puranas and the Itihasas. And anyway, for Kali Yuga, it is not the intonations that matter, it is the Puranas and Itihasas. So everybody has to be taught Puranas and Itihasas. And Bhagavatam and the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, they are meant for this Kali Yuga. And that is why every village used to have somebody speaking about it, and it didn't matter who was from which class, everybody would hear it. So access to the essence of the scriptures was there for everybody. The one difference that did happen, which not the way the Britishers bring about, they don't tell it, but this thing that happened is, over a period of time, qualification, I mean, a person is in a particular varna by qualification and purification, not by birth. That thing went away. That was a problem. It became more so by birth. Of course, it is understandable that you have an Amitabh Bachchan and his son also becomes an actor, or many other cases, because when a child likes a father very much, they try to emulate the father and learn what the father does, and it also gets into the genes. That part is understandable. But somebody can be born in any varna, and the mobility of the varna from a person being born in one and moving to another, that decreased in as Kali Yuga progressed. That is understandable.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Any other thought? I spoke more mundane topic. Maybe somebody can speak a little more spiritual topic. Okay, that's it. Guru Prabhu? Yeah.
Prabhu, you didn't take the examples.
For what, Mataji? What examples do you need?
No, first day I asked, right? Some examples where you must have seen that the Vaishnava etiquettes are being followed or not being followed or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. We'll do one thing. Let's go through Maharaj's Ramayana series, and as we go there, let's add more. I'll tell some examples then. Okay,
Okay,
because
Prabhu.
we're still not covered the majority of the parts here.
Okay.
Shankar Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, shall we, as a follower of Srila Prabhupada, as a follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, shall we endeavor to establish Varnasrama Dharma, or we continue what we are instructed and focus on that? Because now today there is absolutely no Varna and Ashrama, and some endeavor is also needed in that direction. Any thought in that direction, Prabhu? Please.
The word Varnashrama Dharma, or even Daivi Varnashrama for that matter, it's a matter of terminology, is very broad. Definitely, ashram, all of us are there. We either it can be, I mean, not all of us are there. It's even the ashram has a problem slightly. By default, we are not there. There is nothing called as a brahmachari ashram. Then there is the grihastha is present. So out of the 4 ashrams, only one is present, grihastha. And with the help of our institutions like ISKCON, and there are many others too, people are learning how to lead a good grihastha life. But brahmachari life, vanaprastha, is tough. There are no systems in place. And the problem that is happening to, let's say we even go to establish brahmachari ashram, the problem that happens is parents have to be ready to let go of their children at a very young age. Maybe it's not that they have to leave home, but they have to be ready to actually build a, a schooling system which teaches children about regular math and science and also about scriptures. And to build that, we need great teachers. We don't have that good teachers who have absorbed themselves in the scriptures, who can let go of their plush jobs and money and etc. and live simply. So people are so used to comfort that uh, to sacrifice this life to create systems in place for the next generation, it's not there. So it starts from that point to start the ashrama for the brahmachari ashram as such. And we don't need, it's not just one person who has to do that. We need an entire army of people. We need like 50, 100 people to come and sacrifice themselves for this. And it requires capital, manpower, all of that stuff. It requires going to the government, pleading for a land. So much of work is required. It's not, shall we do? Is it practical? Do we have like-minded folks, people who can come together, who can work under one leader and do it? That is a problem. Working under one leader is a very big problem. As long as the leader is a charismatic person, like say for example, we have His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, very charismatic person. Everybody will follow. They may agree to it, they may not agree to it, but they'll just say Maharaj is a pure devotee, we'll do it. But the moment, I mean, so basically such endeavors usually work only when we have such pure devotees with us. But if we do not have, if you have a normal person, it's very tough for everybody to kowtow to that normal person. So that's the ashram perspective. Then there is this varna perspective. Invariably, we all fit into one of these varnas because it's Krishna's natural system. We're either this or that, etc. But the that is not the problem. The problem is we fit into two varnas. It is not one. We sometimes fit into two and fit into three. Our attitude may be belonging to one varna. The work that we do belongs to the second varna, and we also do a part-time job of third varna. And as a result, our life becomes dissatisfied. When we are not focused, we become dissatisfied. So your question is, shall we do this? Shall we establish varnashrama dharma? Is it important? One thing which is very important to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that he requested Sanatan Goswami to lay down the life of how a Vaishnava should live. And that was what is given in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. And this topic, what Maharaj is speaking about, is actually part of that bigger things which are given in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. A lot of things are given, how one should conduct one's daily life. It is very important because people need structure in their life. Imagine there is no structure. We wake up in the morning not knowing what to do. We get overwhelmed. Many of us, especially in middle age, actually become overwhelmed because there are so many things to do. But when there is structure, we know that at this time I do this, at this time I do that, and there is a space for a free time. So it helps. Where there is no structure, nothing gets accomplished. So is it okay to bring this varnashrama here? Some people understand varnashrama only as, let's go back to farm communities. And with the rapid urbanization that is happening, not just in India, but across the world, everywhere people are moving from farms to the cities. Why? Because farm life is undependable. It is nice and rosy picture that we see about farms, but just living off of the farm, only farmers know how tough it is to always depend on the rain and irrigation and all that stuff. So my personal thought, and I would like others to add here, is let's start with building a community. Let's start building at least a proper brahmachari ashram, or at least facilities for the next generation. The varna and ashrama, there are 4 varnas, there are 4 ashramas, but at least we should, out of 8, let's start with 1 or 2. That is the brahmacharya and the grahastha ashram. Let's make this nice, and the remaining 6 can follow later. So 2 out of 8 is my thought. Your thoughts, Prabhu.
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much. It's very thoughtful directions in that way. I mentioned about the Kastas and Brahmanis, yeah. In direction at least, so begin, and whether we contribute some way or something, but the seeds are getting sown, and then either today or tomorrow it become a big ruksha, where probably down the line, before 10,000 years, we may have that. Yes. Thank you very much, bro. But I think, so my question was more on the need in today's hours. Is there a need? Is the hour of need that we should have that need of ours, that we should have that, or what? I mean, that was more that, or we just continue what we are there. But at least you put some thought in that direction as well. So thank you very much, bro.
Thank you. Harishan Prabhu, would you like to say something, add, or a different perspective, different thought?
Just thinking, bro, like what I was thinking is something like ISKCON is still very young as an organization when compared to other established, like I'm just looking at like Sri Vaishnava Parampara and Madhva Parampara and all those things, okay, which has been there for like many centuries. And in a way, like the kids, right from the young age, many of them, maybe not most of them, but quite a number of them, they learn the Arvars, Pasurams, and all those things right from the young age, right? And we see the examples of like Upanishakas, like who come out of this Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, Okay, and they are very much in tune with like right from the young age they are being educated. On the other hand, I see like ISKCON is still very young. Like I was just a dog roaming the street, and suddenly Srila Prabhupada pulled me and then pulled me into this organization. And a lot of like other vasanas are there over many millions of lifetimes, right? So that structure fully has not come naturally, at least to me, to train my children or anything like that. Okay, we just train little bit of whatever I got. Okay, but still, since I am not trained very like dutifully since the childhood, and all those things. Okay, I think ISKCON has not still developed that structure, as you said, of this brahmacharya ashram, and all those things are like living with the scriptures right from the young age. I hope like over a period of time, as more and more people take up, more purification happens, like we will also get a lot of training, and some structure will come as well too. That's why I was just wondering.
Prabhu, I have mentioned so many times the practical application. So basically, I refer to this as structure or way of living life only. That somehow, if it can come true.
Yeah, we should. We should sit together and come up with a plan and work on it, Mataji. Yeah, we should do that. We should not say somebody else will do. We should do it.
Just one learning, Harisham Prabhu. There's one thing that I am little afraid here, that we are very young. Actually, 50 years is nothing. People, thousands of years of strong culture, the other sampradayas have. But when I see outside, at least I have 3-4 friends. One is from Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya and one from very strong Madhva Sampradaya. What I see that it is more on the rituals than the spirit. And I'm afraid that if we get mature to that level, probably, because when we discuss about Lord Krishna, whether it's
That is
Vishnu
also
or
there. Actually, yeah.
and absolutely no clear idea.
Sharbari Mataji, any
very
perspective from your side? Are you still there?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think
Yes.
Yugal
Just
Prabhu
a second, Prabhu, I think Yugal Krishna Prabhu was speaking.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't hear. I thought, okay. Please go ahead, Yugal.
So, so Harisham Prabhu, were I audible to some extent, or it was completely?
No, you are audible to me. Probably, I think Shyam Kund Prabhu couldn't hear you.
Even I couldn't hear.
Oh, okay. So
I
that
couldn't
is
hear.
Hare Krishna, up to the point you mentioned where you had a few Sri Vaishnava and Madhva friends who are very ritualistic, and then Prabhu, from there you have to continue. Hare Krishna.
I think. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So I'm afraid that down the line it should not just become rituals, and the spirit is missing. And second thing is that not a clear philosophical idea, This is my observation. Probably the people who are strong in their study, probably they were better. But when I discuss with Sri Vaishnavas or Madhvas, very strong in rituals, but philosophically very fumble way. So I do not know. I mean, not to just be
Yugal Krishna Prabhu, again we missed you, Prabhu.
Down the line. So that is one.
Prabhu, you are going on and off. We couldn't hear you completely.
I'm extremely sorry. Is it better now?
It was clear, Prabhu. Suddenly the voice goes off and then comes back.
I'm in some zone where network is issue. So I was just saying that seeing them as a very ritualistic and philosophically not that strong as we think that are expected. So my fear is that for our organization down the line, it should not happen. We become ritualistic and miss the essence or the spirit behind that. That is one fear that I have, Prabhu.
No, already it is like that, Prabhu. Like if you see, like chanting is also becoming like a ritualistic activity, right? Like we just take the beat bag and then do it. Yeah, effort has to be put. That's where like Maharaj is focusing on intention. And initiation is also becoming like a ritual. Okay, be a part of ISKCON, like okay, I need to take initiation, get people to chant this many number of rounds, all those things. So there is already that is creeping in.
So what to talk about? I will be within the 650 year itself. Right? Oh, Krishna.
Yes.
I agree, actually. I do not know. Samkunpo, any thought on that? Or we'll discuss later. It's already 7.
Later, definitely later, some other day. But I want to hear Sharbari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I just enjoyed or thoroughly I was listening to what all what you said was and giving an idea from how Brahmanas, I mean the role they played and why we still need to respect them and how the British people, what they did, for what purpose they did. It was very, very nice. And even what Harisham Prabhu said, Yugal Kishore Prabhu said, it's all very nice. I'm just listening. Because knowledge-wise, I don't have anything to contribute at this point in time. But it was just very, very informative and very, very knowledgeable. So thank you, Hare Krishna.
7:20. Thank you, Prabhu. We'll meet again on Monday then.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
Thank.
we'll continue with next lecture from Monday.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.